Hey guys, we are in the basement, and today guys, on this episode of John's Arcade, we're gonna do part number 4 of the Mortal Kombat Restoration. That's right guys, part number 4. And by the way, check this out. Yes, iRobot's down. However, on purpose, I removed the power supply, guys. I was gonna actually fix the power supply last week, and I was talking to Ian at IanKellogg.com, and he's like, I love that power supply. So he offered and agreed to fix it for me, and I took him up on it, guys, because honestly, we need to move on. So we need to work on the Mortal Kombat. I don't want to revisit that right now. So Ian's fixing it for me, so thanks, Ian. And he's going to get that reset circuit all working, because that's what the problem is. Because we rebuilt it before. Actually, Ian helped me before he came here, and we worked on it. And, you know, Ian, he's a power supply engineer for a living, so it's in good hands. So we'll get that back. And then hopefully all the settings will be working right. It'll save the settings and keep the settings, because that was not working at all because that reset circuit was just toast. Anyway, in this video, guys, we're gonna go to the garage. We're gonna get to work on the Mortal Kombat. Yeah, this is part number 4. And where we left off last time was we rebuilt the monitor, the Hantarex Polo 25-inch monitor, but we didn't fix it. We were in HV shutdown. So the hope in this video here is to get that all fixed, and maybe by the end of the video, see some Mortal Kombat on that monitor. So anyway, enough of that, guys. Let's just go to the garage and get to work on the Mortal Kombat. That's right, this is part number 4 of the Mortal Kombat Restoration. Alright guys, we're back in the garage, and yes, we're going to continue working on the Mortal Kombat 2 in this video. And yes, it's still a mess out here, I know. Anyway, let's kind of review, because what did we do in the last video? The last Mortal Kombat video, which I think was part 3 or 4. Anyway, in the last video, we tried fixing the monitor, because we have a Hantarex 25-inch monitor. It's a Polo monitor, and basically the last video, we installed a cap kit. Okay, here's the monitor over here. And we installed the cap kit thinking that it would fix our issue, because basically the thing was like completely shut down. It wasn't doing anything. Actually, this monitor used to be in my Street Fighter, and at one of my parties, it just went black and completely shut down, and I thought maybe doing the cap kit would undo that. Well, it didn't, because after we did the cap kit, it was still going into shutdown. And actually, in the last video, we kind of heard this very faint ticking sound, almost like a Timex watch, like tick, 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 very, very faint. And actually, when I was filming the video, I didn't hear it as clearly as I did after when I was editing the video, and I could clearly hear the microphone was picking up this sound, this very, very subtle ticking sound, and it sounded just like a watch, right? And that's kind of an indicator that it's going into shutdown. So I think that's what's going on right now for sure, is that it's in shutdown. So in this video here, we're gonna start out by replacing the hot, okay? Which can cause, if that's bad, it can basically shut down the whole monitor. The hot is like the horizontal output transformer. And it's basically one of these guys here. Actually, Ian Kellogg at IanKellogg.com sent me these. One is for a K7000 and one is for the Polo. I'm not sure which is which. And actually, I've never replaced a hot on a monitor like this. Actually, I've never even worked on one of these monitors until this video series. So we're all learning this together here, because I really have no experience at all with the Polo. So anyway, let's just kind of dive into this and just get to work here, because I want to replace that part. And then we're going to power it on and see if it fixes the issue. And if it does, then great, we can move on and we have a working monitor. So that's the hope here. And I have no idea what's going to happen. And this is an educated guess here. And if you were to consult the flow chart for this monitor, just Google Hantarex Polo flow chart. It'll say that if it's ticking and in shutdown, that you should look at the hot. So that's what we're going to do. All right, let's discharge the monitor. And you always want to start, when you're working on these monitors, you always want to start out by discharging the monitor. And this is a very, very critical step, okay? And so basically I'm using a screwdriver here with a wire on it. I know I cover this in every video, but we have to do this every time. The wire is attached to the screwdriver here on the bottom. And basically the alligator clip is on the frame. And so we're gonna basically short the tube to the frame. So put one hand in your pocket and then the other hand go under the anode, and don't touch any of this with your hand. And we're just trying to basically touch the metal with a screwdriver, and then eventually it'll just either pop off or you'll get a snap and you'll have to come in with your hand. Anyway, we are now discharged. This might be a self-discharging monitor, I have no idea, but there was no snap for sure. Anyway, let's go ahead and remove the chassis here. We did this in the last video, so it's pretty much the same thing over again. And I think it's just these two screws on the bottom right here that hold this whole thing in. So we'll remove this one, and we'll remove that one. Okay, so now we got to kind of start unplugging stuff, and this green plug back here can go into one of two spots. Okay, just keep note of which one it's in. I believe that this flips the yoke around. If you plug it in this way opposed to this way, you basically can flip the pitcher depending on which one you plug it into. And then let's kind of come in here. There's the remote board. I guess we can leave that in for now. And we've got to remove the neck board, which is really tight. By the way, I want to see if this, did I remove enough screws for this to come out? Yeah, I did. All right, so let's get the neck board off, which is really tight. So I'm gonna just carefully pull this back and try not to flex it too much. Okay. And then there's a little black wire that's on the other side of it I have to undo. Okay. So there's the neck board, and then the degaussing coil should be right here, and it should all come out now. Let's just kind of bring it this way here, and the remote board is going to come with it. I guess we can leave the remote board on right now. Okay, so I want to remove the HV cage. Actually, I don't even think it is the high voltage area. I don't know, but there's this big cage here. And actually, I don't even know what part we need to change. It might be this guy right here. I'm going to look at the FAQ. I think it's this one right here. I'm going to see what part it is that we're changing, because I actually don't even know. Let me go check it out real quick. All right, so here's the flow chart. It says blank screen. Yes. Test fuse 101. We already did that. It's okay. Is their monitor making an audible clicking sound? That's the sound of the power supply's overcurrent protection kicking in. You have a short somewhere. Yes, and then it goes on here. It says shorter horizontal output transistor T114. T114. So we got to figure out which one that is. So I think it's over here. And the thing is, this board is filthy, and I can't read. Let me see if we can read that right there. That looks like T. Let me see if we can see this here. Yeah, that's it right there. T114. So it's this guy right here. Okay, and it's labeled on the board to the left right there. All right, so that's the one we have to replace. And let's go ahead and let's desolder it from the back. Okay, and it doesn't appear to be screwed to the cage. There's a metal band that's kind of holding it on right there. See that? And I don't know how we relieve tension from that. It looks like from the back here. I'm guessing. Oop, there we go. So there's a little metal band that was kind of holding it on, and I just kind of just pushed it from the back here, and it just popped right off. So we'll have to put that back on. So let's go ahead and desolder this guy. And it's going to be these three right here, okay? Now, I'm going to use a little bit of flux. What do you guys think about that? So I'm going to use my flux pen here, and it's this one right here. So let's go ahead and just put a little bit of flux on here. And that was probably a little bit too much, but anyway, let's take our desoldering iron. And we're going to come in here. I'm just adding a little bit of solder as I do this. Okay. And it just fell right out. Okay, so that was pretty easy there. Okay, so that part's out. So I'm actually curious if we could test this guy too. I'm trying to read the part number on here. Can't, 508AF. So let's see what Ian gave me. It's got to be the smaller one, I'm guessing. Ah, shoot. All right, let me grab this here. All right, so I got two parts here. One's for the 7000, and one is for... Okay, so this one is 6920. This is a D1398. I have to actually double check which is which here because I don't want to put the wrong one in. And actually, do you guys want to test this thing? I'm curious to actually try this. This is my transistor tester. I wonder if this will work. Can we get this into 3 different holes here? No, it won't fit in there. Let me see if I can somehow get this in here. Let's see if it tries to, for making contact. It says unknown or damaged. I might need to get some leads for this, which I don't have. I mean, we could definitely test this with a multimeter. Yeah, that's not going to work. You see the leads here are labeled 1, 2, 3, and you have to basically get these into a different number because each one is this one and that one are the same. And so if I put it like this, it's going into 1, 3, and 1. So that's not going to work. I don't know if we can bend this so we can get one of these legs into 2. Let's try that. I don't really know if we're making contact here, but we'll try it. I think it's working. It says testing still. Wow, it's really thinking about it. Unknown or damaged. Interesting. And I definitely have it into 1, 3, and 2. So it's in a unique slot. So I don't know. It says unknown or damaged. So who knows? All right, let me go double check which part is which. But I'm pretty sure it's got to be this guy, right? Makes the most sense. But let me double check. All right, well, I'm glad I asked Ian because the larger one is actually the one for the Polo. This is a J6920 G09AE. So this is the hot for the Polo. And actually, I was thinking, should we compare the two, test the two here, just to kind of see what happens? I'm kind of curious. I mean, these are transistors, right? Will they test like transistors? So I'm going to put on the diode test, and we'll just kind of compare the two. I don't really know what base collector emitter is. I didn't get the pin out. So we get no reading that way. And we do get a reading that way. So they're already reading differently. And then let's switch it this way. And we get 0.5 that way, 0.1. So this is open. We're getting the same reading both ways on this one. I have no idea if I'm doing base collector or emitter or what here, but they're testing totally different. And then let's do this to this. No reading. And let's switch that. 0.5. Let's do these two. 0.38. Let's switch it. 0.38. So it's testing in all directions. This thing's totally hosed. This one is only testing in one direction when I test it. So this thing's definitely bad. So maybe we just found it. I sure hope so. Wouldn't that be great? Okay, so this part is going to go on the back wall there, but we need to put a little bit of heatsink compound on here, and I'm just using silicone heatsink compound. This is non-conductive. Don't use you can't use like Arctic Silver or stuff like that for PCs. This is non-conductive silicone heatsink compound, high-performance silicone grease. Formulated for heat transfer only, okay? You're just transferring heat from point A to point B. It's not conductive, okay? So let's go ahead and drop this guy in here. All right, just like so. And then we're gonna have to put that little band back on, but let's solder it on first. So let's turn this over. I'm just going to kind of lean it like that, and then we'll solder like so. All right, so I'm going to come in with my soldering iron here, and should we use a little bit of flux? I've been reading the flux comments, and I don't know, maybe I've been lazy, but I just haven't really been a firm believer in flux. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I know that there's flux in the solder, and I haven't really had any issues ever, so I haven't been using flux, but maybe I need to just make it part of my my routine and just kind of condition myself to just always use it. It's a big part here. All right, so I'm heating this up. Come on, melt. There we go. Okay. There's one. All right, let's do the next one here. All right, here it goes. Come on. Well, this is a really big part. It takes a lot of heat here. There we go. There's two. And there's three. Okay, so we're on there. This one here looks like we can use a little bit more. All right, that looks good. Okay, so the part's in. And let's go ahead and trim our leads back. Where are my side cutters? I guess we'll use these kind of budget ones. And you just want to cut right above the solder. Okay, so let's double check our work here. Looks good. Let's zoom out. So that looks pretty good. And then let's look up top here. So we got to put this little clip back on. So let's go ahead and do that. So there's this little clip here that kind of puts pressure on it so that it's touching the back wall. And this might be a little tricky to get back in here. There we go. Okay, all clipped. All right, that's it. So let's put this back together and we'll give it a shot. Now, we're going to have to test the B+ voltage because I definitely want to do that. And the test point I could not find to save my life in the last video. And I was told, I thought it was inside the cage and it's not. And I was told that it's outside the cage. So this is TP6 right here. So let me just double check where the test point is. I kind of want to locate the test point before we put it back together. Does that make sense? I think it does. Okay, so the B+ is tested at test point 6, which is right here. So that is outside the cage. So I'm going to actually take my marker and just go like this. And it's supposed to be 138 volts, okay? But that's where test point 6 is. It's right here, okay? Now, the B+ adjustment pot, is it this one right here? I just want to make sure that I don't put this monitor back together and I have to remove this cage. And I think one of these, which pot is to adjust the B+? I want to actually make sure I understand this. Let's see. It doesn't check the voltage. 103. All right, I'm going to look at the manual and see if I could figure out which one of these pots adjusts the B+. I'm guessing it's maybe that one. I don't know, though. I'm just guessing here. All right, I just confirmed that the B+ adjustment pot is in here. So I guess we'll remove this cage. What a pain in the butt this is going to be. I mean, should we do this? I mean, do we need to adjust the B+? Is it going to be just fine? I don't know. I kind of feel like we should just remove this. And then we're prepared to adjust it after we put this back together. It's not very hard to take the monitor apart and if we have to put this back on. So let's go ahead and pull this off. And we got to remove this bottom plate too. How did we get this off? I don't remember. Oh, that's right. This one is clips in. All right. So that one just comes out. And then this one is held on with these little guys that we have to twist. So you just kind of come in here, twist that, like so. Okay. All right, so the B plus adjustment pot is right there. And it's labeled on the board as V adjust, voltage adjust. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this back together, basically the same way we took it apart, and then I'll come right back. All right, I just actually slid the board on there, and I'm gonna just discharge the monitor again really quick, just because this has happened to me so many times where I discharge it and then the tube builds up a charge again, and I put my hand near it. So I recommend doing it one more time. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. Let me get these 2 screws. So there's just 2 screws right here. I'm tempted just to leave that stupid the little cage off. I don't know. Oh, so test point 6 is all the way in the back. Ugh, that's ugly. No wonder I couldn't find it before. That's in a tight spot. It's all the way back there. So we're gonna have to get some alligator clips, I think, before we turn this on. Maybe I'll just clip it on here. Not easy, actually. So is that going to be tough to test when we turn the monitor on? Because I'm going to have to kind of come in here and just kind of do one of these. Yeah, I guess we can probably do it. All right, so let's plug all this stuff back in. The degauss coil goes there. The yoke goes here. And then the neck board and this black wire go here. Okay. All right, and that's power, and then the anode, and that's it. All right, so let's go ahead and put this on, and then we're ready to test this out. Okay, so you can see here, this is like the degauss coil, and we're gonna have to get some wire ties and strip this back here, because this is supposed to be touching the tube, because like when the monitor turns on, it actually degausses itself, it demagnetizes itself. And that's what this does right here. This is the coil right here and right here. And this should be as close to the tube as possible, and this little strip here, this little zip strip has broken off, so we're gonna have to address that. Anyway, all right, so we're ready to test this out, and let's bring it over to the table over here. And we're gonna plug it into the Turtles cabinet. But we're not gonna have a video signal, so let me bring it over there and we'll test it out. All right, so I have the monitor on this table right here, and we're gonna use basically the power from the Turtles, and I'm aware that this monitor doesn't need isolated voltages, but I'm just kind of playing it safe here. And honestly, I don't really have a test bench, so we're just gonna have to use the power from the Turtles. So let's plug this in. Now we don't have a video signal. We're gonna use Aaron Crafty Mech's test pattern generator here, and so anyway, okay, so let's get some power to the Turtles cabinet, and please cross your fingers that this works, because we really need it to. I just don't want to work on this anymore. All right, the power just went on. I don't feel high voltage. Ah, oh, son of a gun. Do we have a bad flyback? I'm not really sure. I'm touching the front of the tube. I don't have any static. Do we have net glow? Is the monitor on? What do I hear? Yeah, we have power. Darn it! This thing is still... What to do, what to do, what to do. We replaced the hot, and it didn't fix it. Did the flyback go? Do we have a bad flyback? I mean, that's the only other thing it could be. Let me consult the FAQ here. Hang on. All right, so I'm looking at the flow chart here, and if you hear the ticking sound, this is the order of stuff, right? It's the hot, which we replaced, and then it talks about some caps, which we already replaced, and then there's some diodes, 116 through 119, and 134 and 135. I suppose we could test those. And then the last thing is a bad flyback. So I'm guessing it's the flyback that went on this. But let's power it on again and just see if we can figure anything out here. Yeah, we have no high voltage. Yeah, I think it's the flyback. I really do. I feel like did we test those diodes in the last video? I mean, we could do it again. Do you want to? Might as well. This is infuriating. I thought it was going to be that. It's not. It's the flyback. I know it is. Let's test the diodes. Let me bring the monitor back to the table over here, and we'll just pull the chassis out again and just poke around. All right, I'm going to go ahead and just take this all apart again, just exactly like we did before, and we'll test out those diodes. And I think I'm going to be ordering a flyback tomorrow. Rats. I thought we were going to get lucky here, guys. This is not the way I wanted this video to go. At all. I'll tell you though, in my experience, when the hot goes, the flyback goes, especially with Sanyo 20 EZs, I don't know. Let's pull this off and see if we can find those diodes. All right, yoke wire. I'll say this though, this thing is pretty easy to remove. By the way, in the flowchart though, it does have a really simple way to test the hot. And actually, let me read it. Maybe we could try doing it the way they say to do it. You got to do it in circuit, though. You ground the black meter to the chassis, and you touch the red lead to the center leg. Open or high resistance is good. Shorted when bad. So we're not in circuit, though, so I don't know which one is ground. So the flowchart actually talks about testing the hot in circuit, and it says... And I'll read what it says. Test with the diode check or the ohm setting of your meter. Ground the black meter to the chassis and touch the red lead to the center leg or metal tab collector of the transistor. Open or high resistance is good. Okay. So if I come over here and I can grab ground right here. So open or high resistance is good. We're getting 2 ohms. 4.8 ohms. So I don't know, is that good or is that bad? I'm just wondering if we fried the hot again. And then it also says to do it with the diode test, and if we put it on diode test, if I grab ground over here, see that? It's shorted. So I'm wondering if we took the hot out again. What do you guys think? Should we replace that again? I'm not sure how to test this one now. Out of circuit using that same test. But this one was definitely testing differently than the one we removed. I'm just wondering if we just blew that again. You know, did the flyback go and did it take that out? But what I want to do really quick here is I'm going to attempt to test these diodes in circuit. So it's D116 through D119. And let's see if we can find those on here. Did we test these already? I don't remember. So there's diode 129. This board's so dirty it's hard to read. Is that them right there? No. Alright, I'm going to fish for these on the board here and we'll test them out. I don't know if we're going to be able to test them effectively in circuit, but we'll try. Okay, I found them, and they're kind of in a weird spot. So 116 is right here, 117 is right here, 118 is this weird guy on this metal, and this is 119 on this metal. As far as I could tell, that's what they are. And here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to test these in circuit, okay? And honestly, I'm not going to put a lot of weight into the test results here. If they seem like they're testing fine, then we're just going to move on. Because I think I pretty much convinced myself I'm replacing the flyback. And I'm not in the mood to undo this, to undo these, to test them out of circuit. Okay, so no, I'm on diode test here. All right, we're getting a reading in both directions. So I'm not getting... Yeah, so we're not really getting a good test here because it's in circuit. And then let's reverse this one. Now, is that short? I don't want to desolder this stuff. Should I? This is the worst part of this hobby is testing diodes and trying to test them in circuit. It's like once I go down this road here, so we have to desolder this and then that. Oh, what a pain in the butt. And this one here. Alright, I'm going to desolder this. This one was testing short in circuit, and this one was getting readings in both directions, and so was that one. So I suppose we can just desolder this really quick. Alright, let me heat up my soldering iron. Alright, so I'm going to remove these diodes one by one, and I don't really want to, but I know it's the right thing to do. Because it does list the flyback as the last thing. It says to test this, and first it says the hot, then it says the diodes. So I'm just going to come in here and attempt to desolder these guys. Just got to figure out where they're going. So let's see if that one will come out. This is super annoying. Honestly, it really is. Like part of me just wants to not do this. Like I just want to say, you know what? Forget it. Let's just go right. Okay, so I just removed that diode from the circuit. I lifted the leg on one side. Now we can really test it, okay? But part of me wants to just go right to the flyback and not mess around with this at all. Because I just feel like the odds are better that it's the flyback and we're going to be spending time with desoldering these diodes and stuff. So anyway, let's test this one now that it's out of circuit. Okay, no reading that way. 0.4. So that one's good, okay? And that one was testing weird in circuit. So let's move on. I'm going to put this back in here. Super annoying. And I got to solder this back on. There's like a little spacer. All right, let me... God, this is annoying. This is exactly why I didn't want to do this. All right. Okay, so that's back in. Let me solder back in real quick. All right, so we got 3 more to do on this little area right here. All right, it's back on. My iron is not heating up very fast today. I don't know what it is. I don't know if the tip needs to be replaced. All right. So is that back in? Yeah, it is. Okay, so the next one is up here on this little riser. And this looks like it's going to be really annoying to remove. So we're going to have to just figure out a way to get that off. Do you see where it is? It's right there. It's right here. So we're going to have to just kind of come in and heat it up and pull it out. So I'm going to heat up the back of it. And see if we can pull it out. Super annoying. Alright, so okay, let's test it out. Good. Good. Out of range. Alright, so that one's good. So far we found nothing. We gotta clean this hole out so we can get this back in. Alright, so the next 2 are even going to be even more annoying to remove. That closed up. There we go. And let's get any solder off. Get in there. Let me see if I need to heat this up. Get in. There we go. Okay, so let's add our solder on here. Is this fun? No, it's really not, right? Alright, yeah, now my soldering iron is working way better. I needed to clean the tip. So like this little Hacko thing is dynamite. Because I used to use a sponge, and you could just take your tip in here and just and I guess my tip was really dirty. So in the beginning of the video, I was having to keep my iron on too long. Okay, alright, so that's back on. So now we got these 2 right here. And same deal, we're going to have to add heat and remove this. Does this thing go through a hole? No, I don't think it does. Boy, this is annoying. Come on, get out of there. Let me see if I add some solder to this. How about some flux? right, let's see if we can pull it out now. What is holding this thing on here? There we go, it's off. God, that's annoying. And then we gotta do the other one too. I guess we should just do both. We'll do both at one time. I mean, do you guys see what I'm doing here? This is really annoying to test these diodes. I mean, they're like on these heat sinks. All right, same deal here. Just gonna add a little bit of solder. Come on, get out. This is like the most annoying thing ever. All right, it's off. All that just to test diodes. All right, let's test these guys. So one's right here. All right, so let's come up here and test these. And I'll let you know what the meter says. All right, so this one, we get no reading in that direction. And then we get 0.4, so that one's good. And then this one right here, we get a reading in that direction. And then the other direction, we should get no reading. Oh, uh-oh. Is this one bad? I think I just found a bad part. Okay, we're getting a reading in that direction. And if I flip it, it's kind of tough to get my leads on it. Oh no, this part's good. Let me try to come at it another direction here. It's in a really awkward spot. So let's try it again. And this time, all right, let's come in like this. There we go. All right, so we're getting no reading. And then let's reverse our leads. And we get 0.4. All right, so that's good. They're all good. So these 4 diodes are all good. Now there's 2 left that I have to find still. I sure hope they're not as nightmarish as these were. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and reattach those 2, and then let's look for the last 2. So you can see I just bent those leads back, and now I'm gonna solder them on there. Basically, I removed as much of the solder as I could with my solder sucker. And now I'm gonna come in here. Maybe we should put a little flux on here. This is like metal to giant metal. All right. All right, there it goes. Let's get this side. And there that one goes. Okay, that looks good. And this one here I'm not positive about. Let's put a little more on. All right, that one's on there. Okay, so let me try to find the last 2 resistors. I mean, the last 2 diodes. So we just tested D. Let me look at the FAQ. I mean, the flow chart. We checked D116 through D119. Those are all good. We also should test D134 and 135. These are the last 2 parts here. And did I just find them right here? Can't really tell. Yeah, yeah, it's these 2 right here. Looks like I just found them, like right away. These 2 guys right here. Let me get my compressed air here. Yeah, that's 135. Yeah, they're right here. Both of them right here. So those look like they're going to be a little easier to deal with. So let's go ahead and desolder those from the back. So we're kind of doing our due diligence here by testing these before we move on to the flyback. And it looks like it's these two right here. These two guys right here. Okay, I think I got the right part. Let's take a look here. Yep. Okay, so those, we're going to lift the leg of each here. Alright, so they're both removed from the board. I'm basically just desoldering one leg and lifting that leg out, and then we can test it properly. You guys can see right there, those are the two that we lifted out. And they don't look pretty, but let's see what we get here when we test them. So let's put our meter on diode test. And we'll test this one. No reading that direction. And then 0.496 that other direction. This one. .5. And then no reading that direction. Alright, so all the diodes are good. So all the diodes they wanted us to test are good. So the last thing here is the flyback. so it goes T114, which we replaced, and then it says the test diode 116 through 119, they're all good. 134 through 135, they're all good. And then it goes on bad high voltage unit. And then it can also be the caps, 172, 174, and 175. Well, we already replaced the caps. So the only thing we didn't replace is the flyback, and so I guess that's what it is, guys. So let me put these diodes back together here. So I'm going to order a flyback. Ian Kellogg does stock them. And I'm probably going to get another hot to have it on hand. I don't know why. Something tells me that I fried that one because maybe the flyback took it out before. What do you guys think? I think it'd be very smart to have the hot on hand next time. And maybe we just go ahead and replace it because it seemed like it was shorted when we did that test, didn't it? All right. So let's go ahead and solder these parts back on here. Alright, so there's that one there. And then let's get this one here, which barely has any lead sticking out here. So I want to really make sure I do this one right. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, so that's it. We're going to stop here, guys. I have no choice. We need a new flyback. Very interesting, right? I'm just double checking my work over here because we had to put these diodes back in. So, yeah, guys, unfortunately, nothing happened. Well, we learned a lot. You know, we're learning more every time. Honestly, I did. I've never worked on this Polo monitor before. And so I'll order that fly back, and then we'll come back real soon, replace it, and see if we have the monitor fixed then. And then really, I mean, the monitor at that point was fully rebuilt, and it should give us many more years of reliable service, I hope. So, all right, guys, let's go back down to the basement. You want to do some viewer mail and hang out? But yeah, that was it. Mortal Kombat, we will play you someday, just not today, unfortunately. All right, guys, let's go back down to the basement. All right, guys, there you have it. Yeah, I know. We didn't fix it, sorry. So, you know, the intention here is to always fix this stuff in one episode, but sometimes it just doesn't happen. And today is one of those videos because, you know, we don't have the part. I don't have the flyback, so I'll order that tomorrow. I'll probably order a hot, too. And then we'll have those parts on hand, and the next video, hopefully crossing our fingers, we'll have that monitor working, and then maybe we'll be looking at some Mortal Kombat in the next video, because really, when the monitor's working, what do? We have to basically put it in the game and hook up the JAMA harness, and away we go, right? I think so. So that should go pretty quick. So anyway, guys, let's do some viewer mail. And by the way, if you want to participate in the viewer mail segment, you need to email them to me at blkdog7@gmail.com. That's no, actually, that's wrong. That's not true at all. We have a new email address. That's right, and I don't have the pitter-patter down just yet. Guys, don't use that email. Things are much easier now. You don't have to put anything in the subject line because you're going to email the viewer mails to John, John, at johnsarcade.com. That's right. If you want to participate in the viewer mail segment, if you have a question, a comment, whatever, send an email to John at johnsarcade.com. All right, so the first one here, again, John at johnsarcade.com. You guys need to make note of that. So, all right, first one here is from Alan. Hi, John. I love your channel. I've been a subscriber for a few years, and I'm curious, have you ever found anything really gross in any of your restoration projects? Keep up the great work, Alan. Well, Alan, yes, I have, because my Punch-Out, when I got that thing home here, I removed the glass up here, the marquee, right? And when I removed it, there was the biggest, nastiest mouse nest, I mean, it was jam-packed with like fuzz and seeds and hair and grossness, shredded paper, you name it, it was all in there. And of course, poop, lots and lots of mouse poop and mouse urine, just all inside this, and it really like made me want to throw up. And that was the worst I've ever discovered in an arcade game. And really, that Punch-Out, which I didn't document. Actually, if you go to johnsarcade.com and go to my restorations or my there's a page that has all the games. It's really outdated, but there's some photo albums of my early restores, and there's one of Punch-Out, and you could see the mouse nest that was in there. And that game, I tell you, that was one that I really had to spend a lot of time sanitizing with bleach and Lysol and sanding and Febreze and everything. I just couldn't get that urine smell out of that game, and that poop smell and the mouse smell, and it was like on me. It was just so gross. But that's probably the worst I've ever found in a game. But I know there's other stories out there, you know, guys finding like adult toys and stuff and adult magazines and stuff. But no, the worst for me is just mouse stuff. So, all right, moving on. Next one here is from Peter. Hey, John, glad to see your Tempest back up and running. Great job despite the hiccups that came along. I don't blame you one bit for ending your Part 5 video after that resistor burnt. I had felt the same way myself. The most important thing, though, through your ordeal is not to be discouraged. And what did you learn? So you'd know more the next time comes around. It's good to take a break and clear your head, but don't go to bed angry. Overall, great work with your fixes. Good that you're learning from your mistakes. I left a similar comment on your Part 6 video. Yeah, that Tempest thing, that was quite the adventure, wasn't it? And really, at the end of Part 5, I had to walk away because I just knew that if I kept going, I would make more mistakes and make it worse. And I came back the next day with a clear head, and we figured it out, and Tempest's still working, so knock on wood. So, enough with that, he says. Now on to some questions. Number one, from all your experience of arcade collecting and bringing machines in and out of your basement, what machine has been the most awkward to bring down or to remove from the basement through the bulkhead stairs? Well, I'll tell you right away, I know this like instantly because the Golden Tee was the scariest game I've ever brought down here. It literally was scary. And It's so big, it's so heavy, it's just obnoxious in every way, and bringing that down the stairs, oh my God, that was something else. So, now other than that, you know, Atari cabinets, the big particle board cabinets in general are headaches, you know. Disc of Tron was really scary to get out of the basement. I remember one morning grabbing, and by the way, getting the games out, a lot harder than getting them in, because I use a appliance dolly, and when you bring the games in, the cart kind of does all the work when you go down the stairs. So if you have a competent friend in the bottom, I'm usually on the top holding it as we go down, and you just go one step at a time, and usually that goes pretty smooth. But Golden Tee was still scary even though. But getting the games out is a whole other ball of wax here. And I remember one morning I sold my Gravatar, and a guy came really early, like 7 a.m. I'm like half awake, and I don't know, maybe he wasn't pulling his weight. At least it felt that way at the time. I felt like I was doing so much work to get that game out, and my God, it was scary. Like, I was getting scared. Like, I'm like, this is dangerous. This feels unsafe. And when it does feel that way, you got to get more bodies. But we actually muscled our way through it and got it out. But really, when you're starting out, try to have 3 people when you bring the games in and out. You know, 1 at the top, 2 at the bottom. I think that's the best way to go. Anyway, going on. As a collector, have you ever had any experience of bringing used arcade machines from a private sale in from across the border, US and Canada, and do you think it would be worth it? You know, I've never done this. I have no experience. I have no advice. I don't have anything to tell you because I've never had to do this. I'd imagine there's customs and duties that you have to worry about. So you're going to have to look into that yourself and see what, you know, what ramifications there might be if you bring a game in. Are you going to have to pay some kind of a duty on it? I don't know. I really have no experience with that. I do have friends that have done it, and I've never heard anything negative about it, so maybe it's not a big deal. Number 3, when you were working on the coin door for your Quantum game restoration, remind me of your stuck coin box in your ice cold beer game when you did your in-depth walkthrough and game tour. Have you ever tried probing the door opening with a thin feeler gauge to see where it binds the most? That could help you with any stuck coin doors to determine where it sticks the most, even for doors that may have been kicked in hard. Yeah, I haven't really spent a lot of time. And what he's talking about is my ice cold beer, the bottom coin door, I've never been able to open that up. And it's just jammed and kicked. And really, it's kind of fun to wonder and think what might be in there, because I can't open it. I don't know. So maybe there's rupees and diamonds in there. Who knows what's in there? Maybe a rare PCB, but we can't get in. I can't open it. So maybe we could dedicate a video to that and open up that coin door and do it kind of a Geraldo style, and maybe we could find something magical inside. I don't know. We should do that, right? I don't really have a good game plan, though, for opening that thing up. He's saying I should go around the edge and maybe see where it's binding and focus in that area. Anyway, he goes on, keep up the great work and stay positive. Later and bye, he says, LOL. Regards, Peter from Toronto. So thanks, Peter, for the email. All right, the next one here, it got cut off the email when I printed it, but we can probably figure it out. It's from Robert, and the subject line is Bronco, okay? And he wants to talk about my Bronco, and mainly, he's concerned about the temperature changes in my garage and that game being stored out there and the back glass, the ink flaking off. And I can read this here. It says the glass and the ink expand and contract at different rates, which will cause the paint to flake off. If you're going to keep the machine in the garage, I suggest that you remove the back glass and bring it in the house. And you know what? I know this. And last year I was a little, I don't know, I careless, because I knew what I was doing last year when I left that game in the garage, and I got lucky. The paint didn't flake off, but I should have removed the back glass and brought it in the house, and I'm going to do it this year, and he's absolutely right. If you leave glass bezels, glass marquees in the garage, as the temperature drops, the glass and the ink expand and contract at different rates, and they start separating from each other, and you can destroy marquees and bezels and pinball back glasses this way. So guys, this is good advice he's giving, and I should really take his advice and do this. If you store this stuff in the garage, remove the artwork, even with plexi, why take the chance? Bring it in the house, you know, and that way you'll save the art and protect it. And that's it. That was all 3, right? So yes, if you guys want to participate in the viewer mail, again, send them to john@johnsarcade.com. It could be anything, a comment, a question, whatever. Send them to john@johnsarcade.com. Now, I want to do something real quick here. I want to thank someone that sent me a package here, and he's a He's a fan of the channel for a long time. He actually sent me a bunch of stuff before, some John's Arcade themed stuff. Like there's a little towel actually I used at Grinkers on the it's like a little it's a washcloth, but I use it kind of as a bar towel. I like it, and some coasters and stuff like that. Anyway, it's Chaz from Chaz's Arcade. John, my man, I couldn't find paper except for our oldish wedding invite paper. So he wrote this on sparkly paper. He says, I wanted to send you a random care package just because, seriously, I just want to show my appreciation, man. I always look forward to seeing your videos. Don't let these emails and letters get old. It's an amazing thing, and what you're doing is even greater, except my handwriting is shit. So, I know, I'm trying to read it here. Keep it up. Man, as always, open up the goodies and enjoy. I'm trying to grow my channel. So Chaz has a YouTube channel called Chaz's Arcade, CHAZ' Arcade. Go on YouTube and just search for it, guys. I'm trying to grow my channel. It'd be legit if you could link and give a shout out. If not, no worries, dude. Either way, Arcade on. So guys, go check out his channel at Chaz's Arcade. Okay. Thanks, John, from your fellow fan arcade collector YouTuber Chaz's Arcade. P.S. If you use the goodies, I'd love to see where it's placed. Also, haven't forgotten about that table wrap. LOL. You can trip after install. You can trim after install. I don't know what he's talking about. Actually, him and I were talking about making a John's Arcade tabletop here because Chaz does some printing. Anyway, so Chaz, thanks for the letter and thanks for the stuff that you sent. And actually, let's check it out. So Chaz sent me a bunch of wall art, okay? Some decorations that he printed up for me. And I like this stuff. And the thing is, I'm out of wall space, though. We got to figure out where to put this stuff. Like, I really have no wall space down here, but we're gonna figure this out. I will. So he sent me a bunch of posters, you know, hard mounted on like foam core posters. So there's a Journey one. You gotta have that, right? So we gotta find a spot for that. Okay, so there's Journey, and then there's this one right here, which is a giant Street Fighter 2 one. Awesome. We gotta find wall space for this, Chaz, but I love it. Going on here. Mario Brothers, awesome. This is some good stuff, right? Mario Brothers, thanks, Chaz. All right, now this one, I'll save that one for last. All right, and then here's one, Aliens. I guess he liked the girl on there, right? So, the earnings are out of this world, Aliens. So this is like the flyer when it came out. That's Aliens. All right, now here's the last one. This one's pretty funny. You know, I've seen this flyer before, and it's quite the flyer, really. So here it is, guys. All right, it says, I remember when he couldn't keep his hands off of me, and you got this guy here playing I don't know what game that is. What is he playing? What's he playing, guys? So this was an ad. I think there was another half to this, but that's pretty funny, right? I remember when he couldn't keep his hands off me. So Chaz, thank you for the awesome wall art. We'll definitely find a spot for it. Little by little, we'll get it up somewhere. So thank you, Chaz, very much. And guys, check out his channel, Chaz's Arcade. All right, guys, that's going to do it for the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to subscribe, like, comment, and tell your friends. Also, and again, send those emails, those viewer mails to john@johnsarcade.com. And of course, check out my podcast, Video Game Outsiders, at videogameoutsiders.com and YouSuckShow at YouSuckShow.com. And also check out my other YouTube channel, John Sucks at Video Games, where I do more modern gaming stuff. John Sucks at Video Games on YouTube. And I actually built a PC on there, so if you guys want to see that stuff, go. And then we'll be doing another video soon. I think midweek here, I really want to go to the Nintendo Versus and do a Nintendo Versus video because Royce from Royce's Arcade sent me this thing he made called Trigger Happy, which allows you to use a HAP gun. He sent me a gun and the device, and I want to test that out because I've never had a gun for my Versus systems. Actually, we had that one for the Hogan's Alley for a short time, but I've been dying to try Gumshoe. I want to burn a set of Gumshoe ROMs and try out Royce's Trigger Happy. I want to try to do that this week. That's the plan. And then we'll go back to the garage and finish up the Mortal Kombat monitor. That's the hope here the next week. So, and then I want to try to squeeze out one of the CAX and Hong Kong videos too. So, anyway, enough of that, guys. It's starting to get hot down here. The games have been on. I'm telling you, in the wintertime, this is the warmest spot in the entire house. It honestly is. You turn the games on, within a half hour, it's the warmest place in the entire house. I don't even have to turn the heat on because these games really warm it up down here. And I really start, when I'm just sitting still here for like a half hour, I start start sweating. So, anyway, enough of that, guys. I'll see you very soon. Later, and bye.